Aluminium Moka Express or stainless steel Venus? Which one is better? I've been testing the Bialetti Aluminium Moka Express against the stainless steel Bialetti Venus to understand if there was any difference in between the two moka pots. To run this test, I used the 2 cups moka pot for both models. I want to make in the future another video where I compare the 4 cups or even the 6 cups. But still, with the 2 cups, I got very interesting information. The first difference, of course, is the material. The Bialetti Moka Express is made of aluminium and the Venus is made of stainless steel. We know that they are 2 different metals. But one interesting thing and also a very important detail in between the 2 moka pots is the thickness of the 2 materials. The Aluminium Moka Express is thicker than the stainless steel Venus. This is probably because the aluminium is lighter and also less resistant than steel. The material of Venus is thinner, probably to make it lighter and also probably to make it cheaper. This aspect definitely makes a difference in terms of brewing, but we will see that in a minute. Another 2 things that can make a difference in brewing are: the first one is the different diameter of the boiler's bottom compared to the 2 moka pots. The second one is the distance of the valve from the bottom of the boiler. The Aluminium Moka Express has a diameter around 7 cm and the stainless steel Venus has it around 8 cm, meaning that Venus has a wider heating surface. And the distance of the valve from the bottom of the boiler in the Moka Express is around 3.4 cm and in the Venus is around 2.5 cm. Of course, here I'm talking about the 2 cups moka pot. That means for the same amount of water that I put in the boiler in both moka pots, in Venus the water will sit lower and wider. This plus the fact that the material is thinner, it will make the water inside the Venus warm up faster compared to the water inside the Moka Express. Now, to see the difference in the cup, I've been brewing the same coffee at the same grind size, placing the same amount of coffee in the basket and the same amount of water in the boiler, and brew both mochas in the same way on the stove. During this test, I've been brewing different types of beans, also different roasting levels, with different grind sizes and different coffee to water ratio. The one I will show you in this video, it was good for this kind of coffee that I used, and also was more or less the average I was getting every time. I was using a medium to dark roasted beans, placed in the basket 11 grams. For reference, I ground the coffee with a Comandante and grinder at 13 regular clicks. In the boiler, 90 grams of water at room temperature. And as I said before, I did the same thing for both moka pots. For metal filtration, I used the standard filter that I found in the box for both Bialetti Moka Express and Bialetti Venus, but I used for both silicone gaskets to make sure that there was no rubber to give me any surprises in the taste. Also, I didn't use any paper filter. On the stove, I always place the mochas on the smaller diffuser at low heat. The first difference is the brew time. Venus always brewed my coffee faster. On average, 1 minute faster. That means because of the thickness and the shape of the boiler, this mocha can build up the pressure that pushes the water up in less time compared to the Moka Express. The flow during brewing was steady for both moka pots, but of course faster for Venus. The second difference that I found is the coffee beverage yield. When I went to weigh the beverages, I noticed that Venus always delivers less coffee in the cup compared to the Moka Express. For 90 grams of water in the boiler, this is what I was usually getting from the Moka Express, and this is what I was usually getting with Venus. That means Venus retains more water in the boiler compared to the Moka Express. Now, taste-wise, what's the difference? First of all, I noticed that every coffee that I made with Venus came out with a lower temperature compared to the ones I made with Moka Express. This is probably because in Venus the water rises faster compared to the Moka Express, where the water probably has more time to get hotter. Tasting the cup, is also different. The coffee in the aluminum has a higher body, a good sweetness, but it has this rough sensation in my mouth, especially in the aftertaste. The coffee from Venus also is sweet and balanced. The body is thinner, but I don't get that rough sensation in my mouth that I get when I drink the coffee from the Moka Express. And this overall makes a better aftertaste. I actually like the coffee quality in the cup that I can achieve with Venus, but that is a personal preference. Also, I noticed, and you can see by yourself, that the coffee from Moka Express looks cloudier compared to the one from Venus. It seems more coffee particle pass through the filter of the aluminum pot. I think this happens because of the higher erosion we have in the Moka Express. Let me explain quickly. There are two different ways of coffee extraction: diffusion and erosion. Diffusion is more of a chemical extraction and is when compounds from the ground coffee move from an area of high concentration, so the inside of the coffee, to an area of low concentration, and that is the water. That happens as soon as the water enters in contact with the coffee. That is something you can see especially when you brew with a steep bag, like for coffee or even like for tea. As soon as you dip the bag in the hot water, you can see all the compounds and the colors start to mix with the water, and that is diffusion. Erosion instead is more of a physical extraction and is when the water flow physically breaks down and carries away small particles and compounds from the coffee ground surface. This extraction is very common in espresso and also when you agitate coffee and water together, like for example in a French press. And these small particles can give that cloudiness. Intensity-wise, the coffee from the Aluminum Moka Express tastes more intense, but actually the coffees from Venus have a higher total dissolved solutes, meaning that they have a higher concentration in the cup of coffee particles that we extracted from the ground coffee that we placed in the basket. And this is because less water passes through the coffee grounds in the pot. Extraction-wise, I can achieve a higher extraction with the Moka Express because more water passes through the coffee grounds in the pot and also this water is hotter. Then I also did the test with a lighter roasted coffee. And as I suspect, the coffee that I achieved with Venus were all of them a bit under-extracted. This is because the lower temperature of water and also the reduced amount of water that pass through the pot. As explained from this video here, light roast needs a higher temperature and more water to achieve that balance in extraction. Instead, the light roast brewed in the Moka Express tasted more balanced and sweeter. It's finally time to run some conclusions. Aluminum Moka Express makes higher extracted coffee that they are hotter as a beverage, but a bit rougher compared to the stainless steel Venus. Based on the brewing variables that I used, I can say that the aluminum moka pot gives a better result with the light roasted coffee. On the other side, in my opinion, Venus provides a better cup with a medium to dark roasted coffee. It makes a cleaner cup and also more balanced, but it doesn't perform as well as the Moka Express with a lighter roasted coffee. Also, the coffee beverage from Venus comes out at a lower temperature. Concluding, I would say that I suggest stainless steel Venus if you're brewing dark roasted coffee and also if you don't mind to have a less hot cup of coffee. You can probably brew light roasted coffee if you change some variables, like I don't know, grinding finer and also placing a paper filter on top of the metal filter that will increase the pressure inside the pot. I suggest the Moka Express for a light to medium roasted coffee, yes, but also if you change some variables, you can also achieve a more balanced cup of coffee, not over-extracted with a dark roast. And this by changing some of the variables, for example, placing less water in the boiler, that will decrease extraction, or grind slightly coarser. Also, if you place a paper filter on the metal filter, you can achieve a cleaner cup. But on standard variables, I suggest Venus for a medium to dark roast coffee, and Moka Express with a light to medium roasted coffee. Regarding cleaning and maintenance, I can say Venus because it's stainless steel, it's easier to maintain than Moka Express because it's made of aluminum. Aluminum requires a bit more carefulness because it's a delicate metal. But no matter which one you get or prefer, the important thing is that you clean your moka pot after every usage. Remove gasket and filter, wash all the parts and then dry them to avoid oxidation. This is mainly important for the aluminum moka pots. I hope this comparison has been helpful to you to understand better the difference in between the Bialetti Moka Express and the Bialetti Venus. Now I would like to hear from you. Which moka pot do you have? Or which one are you planning to get? Let me know by leaving a comment in the section below. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in my next videos, and in the meantime I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao!